FoxBangor.com post and streaming live in HD worldwide at FoxBangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone, today on Good Morning Maine, it's primary election day. We'll have the latest on what you can expect when you show up at the polls.
Plus, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office is investigating a fatal crash on Route 9 in Eddington. We'll have the latest coming up.
And we'll take a look at gas prices from the past week and see how they compare to last month's figures. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday morning. It is Election Day here in Maine.
It is.
A chance to go out there and let your voice be heard.
Yeah.
We'll have all kinds of stuff dealing with elections coming up,
Lots.
tell you what to expect. But first, to check out that forecast. And welcome back, by the way,
Yes,
from your
thank you.
vacation.
I missed you, Craig.
We missed you too last week. We had a great time seeing your photos from out west.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah, the baby buffaloes and all that
Yes.
kind of thing. But again, first to check that forecast, and if you liked yesterday, you're going to like today too. Another beautiful sunny day with pretty hot temperatures.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be nice.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. This morning looking pretty good. We have a little bit of precipitation outside of the country, but for us, high pressure continues to remain in control and keep us nice and quiet. We will be watching for some sunshine and clouds that will be mixed in today. As for the rest of the Northeast, we are staying quiet, but some more clouds are starting to move in across other areas of the northeastern states. Futurecast for us, some sunshine, but we'll notice more clouds during parts of the afternoon period. Notice later on tonight, some more clouds will be developing. As we do move forward in time, notice we do have some more winds that will be moving in, gusting to about 15, perhaps 20 miles per hour at times. That wind will be backing off later on tonight, but picking up a tiny bit in some areas as we head towards Wednesday afternoon. But in the meantime, for today, we do have upper 80s under a mostly sunny sky and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today with temperatures reaching for the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office is currently investigating a fatal crash on Route 9 in Eddington. The crash happened right near the Eddington Fire Department. The Sheriff's Office says the call came in shortly after 1 p.m. First responders determined that a van traveling westbound on Route 9 had crossed the roadway and struck a work vehicle that was illegally parked in the breakdown lane. The collision was head-on and resulted in extensive damage to both vehicles. The operator of the parked work vehicle was transported to Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center for treatment, and the operator of the van was pronounced deceased at the scene. The cause of the collision remains under investigation this morning.
Well, a Florida woman charged in connection with a major kickback scheme involving a Maine Corrections Department official has been sentenced for her role. Melanie Ann High of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was accused of using kickbacks to induce Gerald Merrill to make repeated purchases from companies that she controlled. Merrill is a former deputy superintendent at the Mountain View Correctional Facility and the Down East Correctional Facility. For her part, Melanie High was charged with theft by unauthorized taking and bribery in official and political matters. High was sentenced Monday to 2 years in prison with all but 6 months suspended, along with 2 years probation, as well as $100,000 in restitution for the Department of Corrections. High spoke before the verdict was handed down.
This period has been the worst and most difficult of my life. I've had to confront my actions and consequences every day. I am deeply ashamed of what has happened.
The judge said her decision was based on the length of time that the criminal activity took place and also the amount of money the scheme cost the state of Maine. She also considered High's lack of criminal history, her cooperation with investigators, and her prepayment of some of that restitution that she owes.
Meanwhile, a man from Bradley has received his sentence for committing bank fraud and identity theft. 51-year-old Darren Diorsi will serve 13 months in prison after pleading guilty. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Diorsi conspired with others to fraudulently obtain money from the banks. They impersonated legitimate bank account holders and then used bogus identification cards to withdraw those funds. Diorsi has also been ordered to pay nearly $17,000 in restitution.
The Maine CDC is recommending limiting the consumption of fresh fish from some areas after finding elevated levels of PFAS, those so-called forever chemicals. They say those elevated levels were found in fish tissue samples from Sandy Stream in Freedom, Knox, and Unity, and in the Sebasticook River in Winslow. In some cases, they recommend not eating fish of any kind from those affected areas, and in others, they recommend no more than 5 meals per year of any fish species. There are now 28 water bodies in Maine that currently have a freshwater consumption advisory.
Well, one Down East business is making a big impact on local nonprofits, one penny at a time. Our Alex Schley tells us what Stanley Subaru is doing to help some of the most vulnerable members of the community.
Stanley Subaru visited the Bar Harbor Food Pantry Monday, presenting the organization with a check along with a variety of non-perishable food items.
Because everybody needs help someplace, sometime.
Earlier this year, the Trenton-based dealership launched its Roundup for Change program, giving customers the option to round up their purchases to support a local nonprofit.
When people come in for service and we're checking them out, sometimes they only have like 1 cent over whatever it was, and we ask them to donate 99 cents. Or $2 or $5 or whatever they like to, but the cents add up.
Each month, the team at Stanley Subaru selects a different organization to benefit. Recent recipients include Next Step Domestic Violence Project, Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County, and the Family First Community Center. For organizations like Bar Harbor Food Pantry, which help feed thousands of Mainers across Hancock County, leaders say every donation makes a difference.
It is an incredible community. And while I tend to see people at some of their hardest, most vulnerable moments, the majority of what I see is genuine compassion and generosity in every direction. This community shows up for each other in so many different ways every day, and Stanley Subaru is one wonderful example of how many people support our work.
Stanley Subaru is currently raising money for Ark Pope Memorial Animal Shelter in Cherry Fields, with proceeds from June's campaign going directly to the shelter. In Bar Harbor, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, if you have gotten gas any time in the past week, you probably noticed that the price has dropped down just a bit. According to GasBuddy's survey of more than 1,200 stations around the state, it went down by more than 10 cents a gallon, and the average price is now $4.26 a gallon. That's a little over 20 cents lower than 21 cents lower than a month ago, and $1.27 higher than a year ago at this time. Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis for GasBuddy, says, quote, the combination of lower oil costs and improving refinery runs has kept downward pressure on pump prices, giving motorists a welcome reprieve. However, the future of prices remains murky. With the Strait of Hormuz remaining effectively closed, global oil supplies continue to tighten, and any further deterioration in the situation could send prices sharply higher as well.
Let's hope, yeah.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the candidates for governor made their final pitches to voters yesterday. We'll have more on that ahead.
But first, another look at that forecast. A beautiful sunny day ahead today with high temperatures around 87 degrees. It will be partly cloudy tonight with lows dropping down to the upper 50s. Tomorrow, the clouds move in. Highs tomorrow around 85. We'll be right back.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
I'm Jordan Wood. Everywhere I go, Mainers tell me they've had enough. Tired of higher costs, exhausted by endless wars, and worn out by corporate greed. Washington is failing us. It's time for a new generation to fight Trump and the billionaires. I've already taken on election deniers and won. I'll never take a dime from corporate PACs or lobbyists. I'm Jordan Wood, and I approve this message because I'll fight corruption, defend our democracy, and finally pass Medicare for all.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
A Dixmont couple is embracing the homestead lifestyle and the adventures that come with raising Highland cows.
It takes a lot of time getting them used to you and comfortable with you.
Something I didn't realize I would enjoy as much as I do.
We'll take you to the Highland Hill Homestead tonight on Fox 22 News at 10.
This is the season finale. He's unfrozen.
Fire, white wine.
Recycling. Buddha. Wow. $250,000.
Welcome back, everyone. Thousands of voters will line up at the polls today. However, with crowded fields in this year's primary races, election officials say results could take more than a week to be finalized. Grace Blanchard has more.
People are really enthusiastic to come cast their ballots, cast their votes, and participate in their civic duty and participate in their democracy.
Tuesday's primary election will set the stage for the highly anticipated general election in November, and voters in both parties can expect to see ballots with packed fields of candidates.
Election night, we won't know who the clear winner is. We will know who's gotten the greatest number of number one votes.
The Secretary of State's office says many races will likely go to ranked choice, as candidates in a field of more than 3 candidates must obtain more than 50% of first choice votes to win outright. As a result, all ballots and memory drives must be transported by law enforcement to Augusta to be collected and tabulated. That process can take several days.
It's really hard to tell until we know how those votes actually play out from the voters and how we know, what towns are available, how quickly they're able to get their counts to us, and then turn things over to law enforcement.
Which race is tabulated first also depends on how quickly materials arrive. Bangor City Clerk Lisa Goodwin says it takes 3 months of planning for Election Day.
My team, we have usually 75 people working at one time. So it takes a lot of people, it's a village to get this going and make it work smoothly and correctly.
McBrien says there is a chance that they could have results for Congressional District 2 before statewide races.
Well, if we have all of Congressional District 2 in hand before we have the rest of Congressional District 1, we'll start uploading for Congressional District 2.
The polls here in Bangor will officially open 7 a.m. and polls statewide will close 8 p.m. Tuesday. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And the ranked choice calculation process will also be live streamed and open to the public. That location will be announced as soon as the ranked choice tabulation begins.
Well, in other news this morning, the candidates for governor are making their final pitches to voters as the race for the Blaine House is one that many are watching. Julia Simone caught up with some of the candidates from both sides.
Polls will be open tomorrow from 7 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. As for the race for governor, on the Republican side, Bobby Charles remains the frontrunner. A UNH poll released at the end of May shows he's grown his lead to 37%. While his closest competitor, Jonathan Bush, has made a double-digit increase in recent months and currently sits at 18%. Another Republican candidate for governor, Ben Midgley, is currently at 11%. Republicans we were able to speak with today say a new face needs to be in the Blaine House to change what is happening here in Maine.
The people in power in Augusta have made their lives about who gets to get the next slice of the shrinking pie, with no consideration to the idea that we can actually grow our economy if we act in the right way.
I've been from food stamps to creating 15,000 jobs. No team is going to work harder for you to get this state back on track. So we'd appreciate your vote.
As for the Democrats running for governor, the UNH poll shows Dr. Nirav Shah and Troy Jackson in a dead heat at 28%, while Angus King III, another Democratic candidate for governor, is at 7%. The Democrats we caught up with today kept the focus on working families here in Maine and encouraged voters to show up at the polls tomorrow.
Let's not make any mistakes as to what we are up against. Families across this state are getting squeezed from every single direction. People are paying more and getting less. They are doing everything right and still not making ends meet.
The way to do that is to help working families, and the best way to help them is with more and better, higher paying jobs.
Well, meanwhile, Maine's Congressional District 2 race has former Governor Paul LePage running up unopposed in today's Republican primary. 4 candidates are running on the Democratic side. And a recent Survey USA poll shows State Senator Joe Baldacci leading, followed by State Auditor Matt Dunlap, Jordan Wood, and then Paige Loud from Old Town. Brad Rogers has a closer look at what voters think about the primary race.
Many voters in Maine's 2nd Congressional District have already made up their minds about who they will vote for. Dan Fecta and his son Jason voted early for Joe Baldacci, whose top priorities are preserving Social Security and Medicare for seniors.
Well, I voted for him because I thought he had the best chance to beat Paul LePage.
I think there's a lot of good candidates this year. I think there's a lot of options to pick from. I just felt Baldacci was the best choice.
State Auditor Matt Dunlap supports universal health care and bringing prices down.
I know Matt Dunlap has a lot of supporters, so it's going to be close on that side.
Jordan Wood supports universal child care and protecting voting rights.
I'm going to go for Jordan Wood. That's who I've been following for the most part online.
What do you like about Jordan Wood?
His demeanor, calmness.
Paige Loud also supports universal health care and expanding access to food for children and seniors. But what's driving many voters to the polls are rising prices on gas, food, housing, and more, along with President Trump's positions on immigration, human rights, and cuts to wind and solar projects.
We're not going to have anything. They've taken away all the conservation, taken away a lot of rights for people.
I've always been for, human rights and all that stuff. Just treat everybody equally.
The lone Republican running for the seat being vacated by Jared Golden, former Governor Paul LePage, says he wants to cut waste and fraud in government. How do you feel about Paul LePage getting back into politics?
I think it's great. Just any Republican that can make any difference. And, we've had Democrats for so long out here that nothing seems to be changing. It's only getting worse.
Ahead of tomorrow's primary, President Trump reaffirmed his support for former Governor Paul LePage. One other note, if you are an independent, you can vote in the primaries, but only for one party.
With Maine's primary election today, as we've said, we've been working to give our viewers a deeper look into the candidates you'll potentially be voting for. Today we hear from Democratic congressional candidate Matt Dunlap.
I'm running for Congress because in this very dangerous and uncertain time, we all have to step up and meet the moment, and I want to do my share. I started in this business over 30 years ago. Never had much interest in politics. I grew up in Bar Harbor on a farm just in Town Hill, just outside of the main part of town. Worked in the family business for many years and then went to the University of Maine where I ran cross country and track, studied history. Wound up working in the commercial kitchens there. Started out as a dishwasher, worked as a cook in the area, bartender, bar manager, lead cook. I worked in printing and publishing as a proofreader and editor. I've been a writer. I've done a little fur trapping on the farm when I was a kid to protect the chickens from the predators in the area. I've done work as a public administrator, as a nonprofit administrator. And all those years of experience, especially the time that I spent in the legislature as a state representative for 4 terms, chairing 3 different committees, and then the work I did for 14 years as Secretary of State, with a year in there as executive director of the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, kind of interspersed among all that. Been very, very privileged to be able to help people and move public policy in a way that helps people make their lives better. And in this time, especially as we get into this particular dangerous part of our history with the war in Iran and what's been happening in our cities and our economy, people approached me over a year ago about the possibility of running for public office, running for Congress. They really felt that I had a profile that would meet the district very nicely. So we began a campaign back in October of this past year, and we began talking to people. It's really resonated. Amazing things happen when you talk to people about what their issues are, listen to what they have to say, and then translate that back to them in terms of public policy. What we've been able to do is come up with what we call a people's agenda, talk about the things that actually affect working families in Maine, things like access to health care and health care insurance, the affordability crisis. People can't buy homes right now, people can't afford to go to college, and the price of everything has gone up 30, 35, and 50%. 54% of Mainers right now cannot afford to meet their basic health care costs or their basic costs of living. And I think Congress, in the meantime, has done things like they've cut the top nominal tax rate by 50% since 1980, haven't touched the minimum wage since 2009. There's an awful lot that we need to do and can do together, and I want to be a part of that solution, and that's why I am running for Congress.
Well, meanwhile, Congressional District 2 Democratic candidate Jordan Wood was in Bangor to talk about his vision for Maine and America. The 37-year-old is running for the 2nd District congressional seat. Wood talked about making child care and housing more affordable for working families, and he also talked about watching families struggle with medical issues and emergencies.
We need to get to a system of Medicare for all. We need to decouple health insurance from your employer so that people have the security to get the help and care that they need without fear of going broke or sinking into medical debt.
Wood says Medicare should include dental, vision, and hearing because those things are necessary and are not options.
Well, CD2 Democratic candidate Joe Baldacci spoke out against the war with Iran and his potential Republican opponent's lack of public comment on that conflict. Baldacci told listeners it's been 100 days since the Trump administration launched the war, which he says has cost 13 American lives and triggered price hikes across the board for Americans, including Mainers, on all about basic needs, especially gasoline. He said while Maine's congressional delegation has condemned the war in the past, Baldacci says former governor and presumptive Republican candidate for CD2, Paul LePage, has remained silent despite hardships inflicted on Mainers.
It's time for Paul LePage to come out of hiding and to answer the questions. Do you support this war in Iran? Let me be clear, I don't support the war in Iran, and when I'm in Congress, I will vote to rein in the powers of President Trump to start wars without congressional approval.
Baldacci says he's heard from many Maine voters who are upset about the war with Iran and increased costs. He urges everyone to get out and vote today.
Well, buses in and around Bangor will be free today as Community Connector works to help residents get to the polls and encourage new riders to give public transit a try. The free fare program has become an election day tradition in recent years, with rides offered at no cost during both the June and November elections. Bangor Transit Administrator Lori Linscott says buses will stop at polling locations in Bangor, Hampden, Vesey, and Orono as part of their regular routes. Riders heading to polling places in Brewer or Old Town are asked to let the driver know in advance.
If you need to get to Brewer, they're at the rec center. Just tell the driver you need to go to the polls in Brewer, and also in Old Town. It is request only, just because both of those are off the route a little bit, so we'll just detour to get you there.
Well, Linscott says the program is part of the city's ongoing effort to remove transportation barriers and help ensure every resident has access to the ballot box. What a great thing to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 8:23. After the break, a new survey shows Americans are more worried about their household budgets than they've been in years. We'll find out why coming up.
Plus, middle schoolers in Old Town wrote speeches summarizing the literature studies. We'll hear about the important question they were asked as Good Morning Maine continues.
Honey, where's the countertop?
I sent it out to the granite shop this morning to be replaced.
Wow.
The quickest turnaround in the business, the Granite Shop in Sedgwick.
More rain is
is expected today,
so roads could get slippery.
When conditions get more severe, you can feel safe driving any one of Toyota's 23 all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive models, which is more than Honda, Subaru, or Jeep. Like Tundra, the longest-lasting half-ton truck with a first-class interior, plus advanced technology. Toyota gives you more all-wheel drive choices, giving you more reason to see your New England Toyota dealer. Your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Okay, Craig, it's your read.
The thing's making noises.
He's playing a song on the iPad and it won't shut off.
I can't make it stop. All right, let's read this. As part of a writing assignment, middle school students cracking me up. Duran in the background. Middle school students at Old Town are asking the question, what do we owe each other? Oh my gosh, I'm red.
Sam Miller with that story.
Leonard Middle School held a student pitch event in their library where 7th grade students wrote personal speeches centered around the question, what do we owe each other? To summarize their experience while studying ethics and literature. 5 7th grade students were chosen to speak, with the speeches focusing on what the students believe people owe to each other, such as genuine kindness and holding each other accountable. English language arts teacher Rachel Beckwith expressed her pride in the students.
The kids were amazing. They always are, and just when you're standing up there watching them, and just had a big grin on my face, just so proud of them. But their messages, I thought it was unique. All their messages were different.
Beckwith added that the purpose behind this event is for the students to let their voices be heard.
I want them to understand that their voice matters. That people do care what they have to say, even though they're 12 or 13 years old. More than me, more than the principal and other teachers, but actually people out here want to hear what people have to say.
The students say the speeches have helped them be more comfortable with public speaking, and they saw how each interpretation was special in its own way.
We all just had to brainstorm what we thought that question meant, and we all just went different routes of what we thought it meant.
Students applauded each other's hard work, reflecting the students' commitment to their own powerful words. In Old Town, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Thanks for helping me stop my iPad.
You were very welcome.
It froze up on me.
Yeah, it was. You have to just sometimes when it freezes like that, you have to just give it a minute.
Let it go.
Yeah,
let it go.
It's better now.
Yeah, I was trying to introduce her to Duran and Hungry Like a Wolf, but
we'll listen to it during weather.
Okay.
Let's turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Already wave heights, let's check those out at around 2 feet, according to the buoys right off the coast. Further off towards the north and east, we're looking good as well, with no advisories in effect at this time. On land, we're looking good too. Farther out towards sea at around 2 to 4 feet at this moment in time. On land, though, we'll get to that in a few seconds. Water temperature is still in the mid-50s in the ocean. Cooler farther off towards the north and east with the hotter temperatures that we are noticing. Many of you thinking about the ocean. I would still be careful with that. It will still be easy to get hypothermia with water temperatures this this cold at this point. Meanwhile, on land, let's talk about that now. We do have some rain showers just outside of the country, but for us, we're looking pretty good with a lot of sunshine and a few passing clouds at this point. We will be under a partly cloudy sky coming up later on this evening, but for us today, we'll be under a mostly sunny sky. Other areas, though, seeing some showers and even some thunderstorms this morning. But for us, Futurecast showing some sunshine today, some more clouds during the afternoon period. Overnight, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky, and as we head for tomorrow, the clouds will be continuing. As we head towards Wednesday evening, some showers and some thunderstorms will be moving in ahead of our next area of low pressure, and those precipitation chances will be continuing as we head towards your Thursday. With all the sunshine today, that UV index will be at an 8. That's very high. A burn time of 15 minutes, so hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, and shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn. So for today, here we go. Upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, upper 50s under a partly cloudy sky, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, all right, partly to mostly cloudy with highs in the middle 80s and that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, here we go. Your extended forecast. We are going to be watching for more showers and thunderstorms for your Thursday with highs in the upper 70s. And then we have lower 80s coming up for your Friday under a mostly cloudy sky. And then for your Saturday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 70s.
Chevy Silverado drivers will do a lot in the next 5 years. For their families, for their communities. But here's one thing they won't do: pay interest on their new truck. Just announced, for a limited time, get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models. Take on new adventures, make new memories, and leave the interest behind.
Visit your main Chevy dealers. President Feta cheese. So fresh. So creamy. No wonder it's the #1 feta in America. If it's excellent, it's President.
Families across Maine are feeling squeezed. Grocery prices are too high. Healthcare costs too much. When times are tight, Joe Baldacci's record matters. He passed laws making healthcare easier to get. Joe stood up against Trump's cruel ICE raids, and in Congress, he'll fight to lower grocery prices and protect Medicare from cuts. Joe's values are Maine values: straightforward, steady, ready to get to work. Lower costs, stronger care. Joe Baldacci for Congress. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Lightning fast and shockingly affordable. Don't compromise. Get internet that's 40 times faster than cable. No glitches, no surprise fees. Just 100% fiber. Fidium. Fiber up. Lightning fast and shockingly affordable. Don't compromise. Get internet that's 40 times faster than cable. No glitches, no surprise fees. Just 100% fiber. Fidium. Fiber up.
I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line. Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals by weight.
I have no idea.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
A new survey finds Americans are increasingly worried about the cost of living as the war in Iran drags on. Karen Waugh has the details.
This morning, a new survey shows Americans are more worried about their household budgets than they've been in years.
I had to really tighten up on my going places and buying stuff.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York survey finds 44% of Americans now say their financial situation is worse than a year ago, and 13% say their situation is much worse, the highest percentage in 4 years.
I mean, it's the gas prices are really, for me, they're just a real inconvenience. I'm on a fixed income. I had to cut down on my food.
The financial unease putting added strain on food pantries. This church's food pantry in Durham, North Carolina, opens each Thursday, but church leaders are trying to be flexible. And we really want to be able to support people whenever they need it. The war in Iran, one major factor behind rising costs. Overnight, a U.S. Army helicopter went down near the Strait of Hormuz, but President Trump confirms the pilots inside are, quote, fine. What caused the crash remains unclear. Trump also insists the U.S. is nearing a peace deal with Iran.
We're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal that will not allow in any way, shape, or form nuclear weapons, etc.
Israel now says it stopped airstrikes against Iran after the two attacked each other for the first time since April's ceasefire. President Trump says he doesn't blame Israel for retaliating.
He was hit, he hit back, and now they've called it quits, so they're going to just leave each other alone.
President Trump says after a peace deal is reached, the U.S. will likely be involved in rebuilding Iran's infrastructure. And Trump says the U.S. could get, quote, half their oil. But he did not elaborate. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to another security incident involving air travel. Days after we learned about a man boarding a plane without a valid boarding pass, there's word that another airline pilot is accused of flying without the proper license. Hannah Battah with that story.
This morning, new questions being raised about safety in the skies. The latest incident? An Air Canada pilot arrested on fraud charges, accused of flying thousands of passengers on hundreds of flights without the proper license. Officials say the investigation began after a random certification check revealed inconsistencies. The airline denies safety was ever compromised, saying all pilots at Air Canada undergo mandatory recurrent training every 6 months, but acknowledging the licensing process is essential. The airline saying it takes this matter with utmost seriousness. Police are expected to reveal more details today. Meanwhile, the man accused of boarding a United Airlines flight in Houston without a valid boarding pass appeared in court. His attorney claims 25-year-old Abdul Rahman Oriyami unknowingly bought a fake boarding pass online, thinking he was buying a cheap ticket.
All of us can see the problem with using the internet to obtain a ticket when it's not coming from the airline itself, and that is what the case is all about.
Investigators claim Oriyami tried twice to board a flight using the pass, but was turned away. They say about an hour later, he walked past distracted gate agents and boarded a flight to Los Angeles, where he was later found hiding in the bathroom.
Here we had several failures just right off the bat. A failure to be able to stop this individual before he got through TSA and into the secure area, and a failure, amazingly, to catch him before he walked down the jetway and got on the airplane.
His attorney did not elaborate on that fake ticket bought online. If convicted, Oriyami could face at least 6 months in prison. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, Husson University is now expanding their online degree options.
We'll tell you all about it straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Joe Baldacci, the hand-picked yes man of dark money DC. He's bankrolled by DC and beholden to them, not us. The truth? Joe Baldacci is the only Democrat running for Congress who stands with Trump and opposed implementing Medicare for all Mainers now. Good for the establishment, bad for Mainers. Reject dark money and corporate Democrats. Vote no on DC's hand-picked yes man, Joe Baldacci. Real Change PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Chevy Silverado drivers will do a lot in the next 5 years. For their families, for their communities. But here's one thing they won't do: pay interest on their new truck. Just announced, for a limited time, get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models. Take on new adventures, make new memories, and leave the interest behind.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026, and this is also National Meal Prep Day.
Meal prep is sometimes ignored, but specialists believe it could be a key to living a healthier life. At a time when more people are spending less time cooking and more time buying takeout, meal prep gives us more control over the foods that we eat. We tend to eat healthier when we give our food a little more thought, and preparing meals ahead of time can also save us a lot of money.
It sure can. If you get in the habit of going to takeout all the time, boy, that can add up quick too. So.
All those little charges definitely add up. But meal prep is pretty easy. I do mine on Sunday and do a few little yogurt bowls for the week and eat them here at work. So definitely worth it.
Yeah. Save some money that way too.
For sure.
A bunch of time. All right, time for history. It was on this day back in 1934. Donald Duck waddled into pop culture during his debut in the Disney film The Wise Little Hen. In 1954, during the McCarthy hearings, the Army Special Counsel berated Senator Joseph McCarthy, asking, "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" He said it just like that,
Yeah,
too.
that was very good.
It marked a turning point that effectively ended the senator's anti-communist witch hunt. In fact, McCarthy was censured by the Senate later on that year. And in 1972, heavy rains triggered record flooding in the Black Hills of South Dakota. The resulting disaster left at least 238 people dead and more than 1,300 homes destroyed.
And in 1973, Secretariat won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths. It became the first horse in many years to win America's coveted Triple Crown and set a track record that still stands today. It was named the Horse of the Century and went on to sire other champion racers in his retirement as well. In 1986, the Rogers Commission released its report on the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. It criticized NASA and the rocket builder for management problems, leading to the explosion that claimed the lives of 7 astronauts. And in 2013, tennis great Roger Nadal became the first man to win 8 titles at the same Grand Slam tennis tournament. He finished his career with an incredible 14 French Open titles.
Incredible.
That's quite a few.
Yeah. All right, for birthdays today, they're all on-screen people. Michael J. Fox is 65 today. Actor Johnny Depp is 63. And actress Natalie Portman is 45 years old today. Talk about talent.
Very
right there
much
on your
so,
screen.
yeah.
Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. This morning looking pretty good. We have a little bit of precipitation outside of the country, but for us, high pressure continues to remain in control and keep us nice and quiet. We will be watching for some sunshine and clouds that will be mixed in today. As for the rest of the Northeast, we are staying quiet, but some more clouds are starting to move in across other areas of the northeastern states. Futurecast for us, some sunshine, but we'll notice more clouds during parts of the afternoon period. Notice later on tonight, some more clouds will be developing. As we do move forward in time, notice we do have some more winds that will be moving in, gusting to about 15, perhaps 20 miles per hour at times. That wind will be backing off later on tonight, but picking up a tiny bit in some areas as we head towards Wednesday afternoon. But in the meantime, for today, we do have upper 80s under a mostly sunny sky and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today with temperatures reaching for the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
Everyone deserves to be connected. Big cities, small towns, everywhere in between. And staying connected shouldn't break the bank. That's why T-Mobile and US Cellular have joined forces. And now that we've combined networks, T-Mobile covers more places than ever before. America's best network just got bigger. Join now and your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. T-Mobile and US Cellular, better together.
I'm Jordan Wood. Everywhere I go, Mainers tell me they've had enough. Tired of higher costs, exhausted by endless wars, and worn out by corporate greed. Washington is failing us. It's time for a new generation to fight Trump and the billionaires. I've already taken on election deniers and won. I'll never take a dime from corporate PACs or lobbyists. I'm Jordan Wood. And I approve this message because I'll fight corruption, defend our democracy, and finally pass Medicare for all.
At Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darlings Kia, we've got something for everyone. Shop our full lineup of new all-wheel drive, gas, EV, hybrid, or plug-in hybrid Kias. Plus, enjoy affordable lease programs and more incredible savings on award-winning Kias. And at Darlings Kia, your new vehicle is covered by our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. Shop Darlings Kia. You'll do better at Darlings.
It was a monster year for Newport native Cooper Flagg. He reached heights that no one ever thought we'd see from a fellow Mainer. We will celebrate that year with a Cooper Flagg special on Wednesday, June 10th on ABC before the NBA Finals Game 4.
Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
And off we go.
It's going home run, get him out the field.
Sensational!
You know that I'm killing him, this is all.
Oh my goodness! Absolute madness!
Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
Welcome back in, everyone. NBA Finals Game 3 between the Spurs and Knicks slated for Monday night, with the Knicks bringing a 2-0 series lead with them back to New York and Madison Square Garden. The Big Apple has been a zoo all series long, but is expected to be turned up a notch as the series comes to the city between the rabid fan base and President Donald Trump planning to attend Game 3 Madison Square Garden, and the blocks around it were put on lockdown. They canceled the watch party, and as of 4 p.m. on Monday, they closed all streets between West 30th and 35th to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. The only way you'd be allowed in that area is you have credentials, have a business in the area, have a train ticket, or a ticket to the game. Speaking of which, is Sunday would cost you almost $8,000 just to get in the building. It's since dropped and was just under $4,000, slight $4,000 on Monday afternoon, but just insane prices. Let's head to MSG now to check in on that game. We pick it up in the first where the Spurs started hot. Victor Wembanyama drives and gets the bucket and the foul to keep his team rolling early. They'd hold a big lead for the majority of the first half, but late in the second, here come the Knicks. Josh Hart bangs the three and gives his team their first lead. Then Jalen Brunson adds to it shortly after. Knicks lead at the half as MSG's going crazy and the Stars are in the building. They're hoping to get their money's worth. Towards the end of the third now, tied at 76, Wemby pulls up from deep and drains it. Spurs right back in this one. Down the stretch we go. Knicks down 6. Brunson pulls up. He drains it. Down 3 now. On the other end, De'Aaron Fox, former Clutch Player of the Year, he drives, pulls up from mid-range, and he extends the lead back up to 5. After that, it's OG Anunoby. He drains the corner 3 to make it a 2-point game, but Stephon Castle would make his free throws, and the Spurs take Game 3 on the road, 115-111. You're paying 5-6 figs for a loss to watch as a Knicks fan. That is a tough pill to swallow. Game 4 on Wednesday. Well, folks, on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on ABC, we'll have a live Cooper Flagg Year in Review special where we recap Coop's amazing first year in the NBA, from draft night to winning Rookie of the Year. And to get you ready, let's bring you back to Newport and relive that historic June night together.
With the first pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flagg from Duke University.
June 25th, 2025, a day Governor Janet Mills has declared Cooper Flagg Day across the state of Maine, a day that's been decades in the making for the Maine basketball community.
Like, I played basketball a long time around here. We've been waiting for this, so we deserve this. You know what I mean?
It's so special, I can't even say it.
I've never experienced this in my life before, and it's probably one of the greatest things I'll ever experience in my life. Just not from Newport, but just to be in Maine, #1 overall, it's really cool.
A day young athletes across the state will remember and lean on for decades to come as they dream of heights once thought impossible.
I mean, it's very inspirational that he's from Maine and we're a small town or a small state, and he's just a very good player.
When you're growing up and you're playing basketball, especially in Maine, you don't have a lot to look up to.
Hopefully it opens the doors for a lot of other children that are in small rural areas to maybe keep striving for the best that they can do, and who knows, maybe they'll be in the same situation.
It's a celebratory day across the state, but there's no place more proud than his hometown of Newport.
Obviously filled with so much pride, joy for Cooper and his family, and like happy for our community. Like our communities get to celebrate this and claim him as one of our own, so it's just been unbelievable.
From Newport, Jack Webb, ABC7, Fox 22 Sports.
We will have more on that night and every other major event, Cooper Flag's historic rookie year, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. on ABC. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We're right back after the break.
Kirk Fisher is a motorcycle attorney with first responder experience. He protects fellow riders and those in danger, fighting fires and fighting for your rights. Experienced, determined, and dedicated. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. Look for motorcycles, or Kirk Fisher will be looking for you.
Meet the toughest team in the game. Bad Boy Mowers and Bad Boy Tractors. These powerhouses will do whatever it takes to win. Putting in the work with unrivaled engineering, game-changing features like heated seats and an Alpine entertainment system, plus durable implements and style that's in a league of its own. Bad Boy Mowers and Tractors. Power, performance, attitude.
Matt Dunlap sided against Maine women. Dunlap's anti-abortion voting record earned him a 100% rating from Maine Right to Life. We deserve answers. Matt Dunlap says,
no regrets at all.
Now a mystery group tied to Republicans is meddling with $300,000 to elect Dunlap. Vote for a Democrat we can trust with a 100% voting record from Planned Parenthood. Joe Baldacci.
I'm Joe Baldacci, and I approve this message.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
Where every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You had me a trash panda. That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Husson University is expanding its online degree offerings. They are adding new Bachelor of Science degrees in marine biology and conservation, one in wildlife care and rehabilitation, and another in wildlife conservation and management. They're also adding 4 new online certificate programs.
Marine biology is growing. I think there's over 500,000 jobs available right now for marine biologists. And honestly, there's not a lot of flexible online programs in marine biology, for example. So we're combining the labor market, the professional focus, and people's passion.
Husson officials say the programs will prepare students to be ready for their jobs on day one.
Well, that's awesome.
Husson keeps expanding and
They
offering
sure
more
do.
and more.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Already wave heights, let's check those out at around 2 feet, according to the buoys right off the coast. Further off towards the north and east, we're looking good as well, with no advisories in effect at this time. On land, we're looking good too. Farther out towards sea at around 2 to 4 feet at this moment in time. On land, though, we'll get to that in a few seconds. Water temperature is still in the mid-50s in the ocean. Cooler further off towards the north and east with the hotter temperatures that we are noticing. Many of you thinking about the ocean. I would still be careful with that. It will still be easy to get hyperthermia with water temperatures this this cold at this point. Meanwhile, on land, let's talk about that now. We do have some rain showers just outside of the country, but for us, we're looking pretty good with a lot of sunshine and a few passing clouds at this point. We will be under a partly cloudy sky coming up later on this evening, but for us today, we'll be under a mostly sunny sky. Other areas, though, seeing some showers and even some thunderstorms this morning. But for us, Futurecast showing some sunshine today, some more clouds during the afternoon period. Overnight, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky, and as we head for tomorrow, the clouds will be continuing. As we head towards Wednesday evening, some showers and some thunderstorms will be moving in ahead of our next area of low pressure, and those precipitation chances will be continuing as we head towards your Thursday. With all the sunshine today, that UV index will be at an 8. That's very high. A burn time of 15 minutes, so hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, and shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn. So for today, here we go. Upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, upper 50s under a partly cloudy sky, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, all right, partly to mostly cloudy with highs in the middle 80s and that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, here we go. Your extended forecast. We are going to be watching for more showers and thunderstorms for your Thursday with highs in the upper 70s. And then we have lower 80s coming up for your Friday under a mostly cloudy sky. And then for your Saturday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 70s.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson and Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson and Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
When there's a big job to do, you send the person you know will deliver. Joe Baldacci. Lowering grocery prices, protecting Medicare, defending a woman's right to choose. Those are big jobs. Joe Baldacci's always deliver for Maine. He passed laws making healthcare easier to get and helped restore mental health centers. Joe Baldacci goes to work for us in Maine. And in Congress, he will too. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers central and eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
Fast Freddy's cooking, really fast. And he's playing even faster.
2 Fast Play tickets, please.
Fabulous Fives is loaded with $5,000 prizes. Cha-Ching is loaded with $250 prizes. Both are fast, easy, and fun. Hungry to win? Ask for Maine Lottery's Fast Play today.
Also, play 500,000 Platinum Payout. You could win $500,000.
On this National Best Friends Day, we are hearing about a couple of best friends who just happen to each have 4 legs. Their owner, Paloma, has watched her 8-year-old cat, Celio, and her 5-year-old dog, Ollie, win over the hearts of millions online with their relationship's surprising turnaround. About 5 years ago, when Paloma first bought Ollie into their Georgia home, she says that Celio was not especially fond of the puppy feeling. She says in 2023, everything started to change when Celio became quite sick for about a month and a half. He stopped eating and even needed a feeding tube. And then suddenly, Celio didn't seem to mind having a nurse come to check on him. After that, in his mysterious and miraculous recovery, Celio finally began to return that love, and now they're best buds.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, kitty, kitty.
It's amazing with the animals, they do.
It is. They just warmed up to each other.
Yeah.
Needed a little time.
I love it.
Too cute.
Well, that'll do it for about now. Boy, we've
Yeah.
got a busy day ahead. We'll be
sure
live
do.
at noon. We'll have live reports from down at the polling places to let you know how that's going on. Again, the polls will remain open until 8 today. We might not know the results tonight.
yeah.
We'll let you know what we do know, and then, of course, tomorrow morning. But it could take a few days to get some final results.
Definitely could.
So, in the meantime, get out there and vote.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Sorry, I pointed my finger at you. Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less. She's been on Netflix nearly as much as that Are You Still Watching pop-up. But to be fair, that pop-up is a lot more charismatic. It's Jackie Tone. And joining Jackie are married couple Bianca and